Hi, thanks for tuning into this web tutorial. In this package, we'll be discussing the different alternatives and calculations in Energy Pro. In this specific video, we're going to be looking at the alternatives and the different alternatives that you can choose in Energy Pro. So let's quickly look at the calculations section. In the bottom left-hand side, you'll see a calculations bar. When we click this bar, we'll be given a calculations section, bunch of squares or checklists, and a right side with some tabs. So each of these checkboxes will be based on our modules. So I've checked the loads and the green point rated and the res performance calculations, which are the modules that I have activated. In each of these modules, doesn't matter what you have, you'll find an option, an alternatives, and a calibration tab. In the options tab, you'll have different options based on the module you have, but for the green point rated and the res performance, I pretty much have the same options that I can choose. So I'm going to go ahead and look at the run individual measures, which will look at the alternatives tab. And in each of in the alternatives tabs, I have upgrades that I could choose, and they're based off the assemblies and systems that I have modeled in based on my proposed or my baseline building model. So these alternatives will basically be some design upgrades or something that will be compared to as far as energy savings. And what Energy Pro looks at are basically Title 24 approved upgrades, or something that has metrics or calculations that the California Energy Commission can use to see performance gains from improving these types of systems and assemblies. So the things that we can do as far as alternatives are anything to the roof or roof insulation, anything with the walls, wall insulation, floors, and floor insulation. So in the roof insulation, I can do cool roofing, and I can also add a radiant barrier and improve my ventilation. I can also add any interior insulation if I'm planning on doing that as well. The wall insulation, I can improve that as well, and add any type of wall insulation. Same thing with floor, I can improve that to any value. Again, you cannot modify these values. You have to use whatever is in the library. If you don't see it, go ahead and import it, just like we've shown in the prior videos. I can upgrade my windows, and these should be NFRC labeled windows. So whatever window you decide to choose, be sure you click the NFRC radio buttons and make sure they're manufactured, and set the system or the properties accordingly for the windows. For heating systems, you can change the efficiency based on the system. And definitely note the outputs as well. The HVAC distribution is basically if you're installing ducts to a system, it's best practice if you use that. You don't have to use that if you're not. If you're doing like duct sealing or duct improvement, you can also use this, but it's best you use this only if you're installing ducts. And if you already have existing ducts, use the duct leakage and duct insulation check boxes. So if you're installing ducts, be sure you're noting the duct locations. And if you're a HERS rater and you're doing a measured duct surface, be sure you have 5 ducts clearly assessed that are buried in the ducts. That's if you're doing buried duct in fiberglass or cellulose. You can do HERS ratings. You can also do refrigerant charge and airflow verification and fan wattage verifications. You can do building leakage improvements based on airflow or CFM50. Appliance upgrades are really only refrigerators and dishwashers. Indoor and outdoor lighting if they're high efficacy. Domestic hot water systems can be replaced, any type of domestic hot water system, whether it be tank or tankless. You can improve the distribution of the domestic hot water system, and you can set the baseline in the domestic hot water tab here in the residential, so set that up accordingly. So if the kitchen pipes are only insulated, if their pipes have no insulation in the building, you want to note that clearly as well. If you're going to do any domestic hot water systems with solar, be sure to note how much of solar is actually doing is heating the hot water. You can also improve boilers, and you can add a PV system of any type. Be sure you use the CEC PV calculator to get this information. So you can go ahead and click these things. Once you click the calculate button, it will run these calculations based on whatever radio you show. So since I decided to do the run individual measures combined, Energy Pro will show me, I'm sorry, not the run individual measures combined, just run individual measures. Energy Pro will show me each individual measure and how much each individual measure contributes to improvement. So not to the whole house. This is for the whole house improvement, how each system relates to each of the improvements. This is how each of the systems improve based on the existing. So going from a 75% to a 95% efficient furnace, I see a 10% savings in energy use. This is just system only, not for the whole building, just the HVAC system. And again, for duct leakage, insulation, this is how much savings they contribute for just that upgrade. So big savings just on little things. So that pretty much wraps up the basics on alternatives and calculations. Join us on our other videos that we have about calculations and alternatives. Thank you. Bye.